Well, fishers, we've got real mixed reports this week, I can assure you of that. There's a bit of activity all around us, but some places are really quieting down, some are disappointing, some are good. Talking to Mesa a couple of minutes ago down in Compleat Lavington, he tells me Dartmouth was really ordinary last weekend, not a great deal of activity at all. That's the first quiet report or ordinary report we've had from there for 2 or 3 months now. But apparently through the weeks picked up a little bit again. But we'll just hope it sort of gets better and better. Hume Weir, still getting some pretty good reports out of the Hume Weir. Trout-wise, not a lot. Everything else is pretty doughy. You know, the reddies, the yellows, the cod. Not a lot of activity there at all. But trout seems to be reasonable numbers of trout in the main basin, Tallangatta Arm, which we keep mentioning, and that seems to be where most of them are getting caught. They're getting an occasional trout off the bank, walking around casting spoons and that off the bank, so that's certainly worth a bit of a look in there as well. Moala, pretty average. Heard of a couple of reports. Most blokes are getting that one for the day, sometimes two, but it's sort of quieting right down again for some reason. Not too sure. There's a lot of water going down there, a lot of water flow going through it at the moment. So again, it's probably not the best place to venture to at the moment. I would probably go somewhere else, maybe Blowering, maybe the Hume Weir. Getting a bit of activity in the Murrumbidgee River. It's starting to move a little bit. It's been dead for 2 to 3 weeks, as you know, because of the environmental throws it's gone through. We've got a little bit of craying still left until the end of this month. And it's definitely good enough to go and chase a few crays at the moment. The river's reasonably low, clear enough to spin. Mind you, not a lot of activity at the moment. Sneaking up to Blowering Dam. Look, Blowering really was tough last week, the sort of later part of last week and last weekend. Obviously, the conditions weren't much good at all. A couple of Aubrey blokes pulled out a few meteries, but look, they worked hard, 1,000 casts between them, that sort of thing. So a lot of work to catch a few fish. But that's pretty normal for Blowering, as most of us know. Blowering produces some of the best fish in the country, and I rate it as one of the best dams in the country. But you've got to put the time in, you've got to put the effort in. It's the same handful of people that catch fish all the time, so obviously they're learning how to fish it. Average person wanders up there, they're going to struggle a bit. There was a few redfin come out of it over the last week or so. They're split up a little bit. I've told you that before. They moved out into smaller schools, starting to go up into the shallows. There's still good yellowbelly getting caught off the bank with worms. It's really worth the effort. Still the occasional good rainbow trout getting caught. Even walking about throwing spoons up there should be pretty good. There's a little bit of activity in regards to Talbingo, but a lot of hours between fish there as well. Trolling seems to be reasonably consistent there, but drifting and casting is a much better option. Yucca-bean, Tantangra, Jindabyne, if you're keen enough, off the bank with bait. Worms in particular, wood grubs or little barty grubs, they'll cover the options well. There's a few nice big trout getting caught there. Burrinjuck was a little bit quiet on the weekend. Again, Friday, Saturday was almost a total wipeout. But people did persist and fish. There was a few cod caught. There was the Greg Whitehead challenges on. There was over 400 odd anglers, only a bit over 200 fish caught. So as you can see, they've done it pretty hard. Sunday was a pretty good day, but after that big blow, takes a while for things to settle down. So Burrinjuck will pick up in the very near future. I would suggest if you're heading up there, fish off the bank with worms right up round wee Jasper Kerry's reserve in that area, and also up around Tamus Bridge, Good Hope, all up through there. That's where you'll pick up a few yellowbelly without too much trouble at all. Wangler starting to get a few yellows off the bank with worms. Pretty well the only way they're picking them up there at the moment too. So as you can see, we've got a bit of activity around us, but this is sort of that flat time of year. Give it another week, maybe 2, as soon as we get a little bit of warmth, and things are really going to kick in. Well, this is the Compleat Anglers Fish Report for this week. We'll catch you next week.